Hello, I am DeathSeeker512, and in today's Java tutorial, I will be showing you, well, the Hello World, which is, Hello World and some math. And if I've still got like time after 15 minutes, then I guess maybe loop or branching, I guess, I think is what it's called. Well, anyway, statements. So as soon as I start the stopwatch. So, first things first, we are going to need to create a class file. So if you open up this, actually first things first, I'm going to click this arrow right here, and we're going to switch the package presentation to hierarchical, whatever. And then now the next thing we're going to need to do is create a new Java class. You can do that by clicking on this button or going to new and then class. Now what a class file is, well, it's a file that holds all the information of our source code. And so what source code is, it's like the language that you can read and what you type, and then what it does is it goes through something called a compiler, which takes the code that you can read and changes it into a code that the computer can read, because you can't just like talk to a computer and not know what you're saying. I mean, even Cleverbot, for instance, you don't actually talk to it, and it actually knows what you're saying. It just figures out, oh, this is probably the best thing to reply back, and uses that. I mean, it doesn't really know what you're saying. It's like, oh, well, he said something about like this. It had these words in it, so I'm going to pull this uh, sentence and give that to them. So I'm going to change the name of this class, and these classes are going to be labeled after the video numbers, so 001. No. V001. Okay. And, well, as you can see here, it says the use of the default package is discouraged. Well, wait a minute. What's this? What's a package? Well, if you think about it in real terms, a package is like a box or something that holds stuff inside of it. Well, in this case, a package is a folder that holds the information or classes or maybe other boxes or folders in it as well. So you can change the package right here to something like, well, oftentimes it is your like website, so com dot backwards. Okay, I'm really gotta change this to co.nr. That way it's just so much easier to type in this anyways. But a lot of times, programmer will use like their website and then backwards. So if you think about Minecraft, it's net.minecraft or org dot java dot something swing, I guess. No, that's Java. Anyway, so on. So what I'm going to do here is, well, what these dots represent is like a folder. So if it is in like the actual file system, it will have that after everything. So again, this is going to create a folder that's com, and then inside of the com folder, there's going to be another folder called Weebly, and inside the Weebly folder, there's going to be another folder called DeathSeeker512, and I'm going to create another folder, and this is going to be tutorials. I got to find a better place to put my mic, because this is really weird stretching I have to do. But I doubt you guys care about that. So The name of a class file, generally every word starts with a capital letter. However, you can have numbers in it after a letter. And so now I'm going to just hit finish. And wait for it to actually create this class file. Now I know that this is all kind of ugly. Oh, that's looks like crap. Can't hardly read anything. I'll be back in a minute. And I am back. As you can see here, there has been quite a lot of change, and actually I really like it. So what I really did was I installed two applications. Actually, I don't think I even need this one anymore. So if I go to default and hit OK, and hit OK, and wait a minute, and I'll be back whenever this is done. Okay, so yeah, I do need it. But if you're wondering what I installed, I had to install the Eclipse Marketplace, and then from there I installed the color theme and the Chrome theme. Now, whenever you switch to the Chrome theme, you have to hit Appearance and then change it to Will's Themes Chrome theme, and then in here, in the Chrome theme tab underneath Appearance, you can pretty much go through and change every part that you would need to change, and so that it looks all nice and like this. Alright, so as I said, first things first, the Hello World application. It's actually super basic. So if you go over here and tap enter twice, just for formatting's sake, and type in public void main and then parentheses. Now inside the parentheses, you're going to have to type in string with a capital S, so TRING, then put brackets at the end of that, and give it a name. It's generally ARGS or ARGV, so arguments or argument variables. So I'm just going to have it as args, and then you want to brace at the end and hit enter, and it'll automatically put that on there. Now, as you notice, the main changed colors because now the colors themes is like, hey, it's a method now. Now let's change it. Now what a method is it's a way of doing things. So the main method is the method that Java looks for in order to execute a program. And I'll get to what each of these mean later. But as for now, we are going to need to type system dot or a period out dot print ln. Now what this stands for is print line, and so I'll also be going through the difference, but there are not braces. Don't. So after you get that, you need to put a semicolon at the end of that. Now in here, you're going to put quotation marks and then type in what you want it to print out. So, hello world, which generally is the first one that you start with. So now if I hit run up here, it's like the play button, and then Java application, because it's not an applet, it's an application, and then hit OK. And it says does not contain a main type. Oh, well that's because I forgot one specific keyword, and after public there needs to be static. And now if I hit run, it should have no issue. Now I'm also going to check mark always save resources before launching. That way I don't have to constantly do that. So now, once it runs, you'll notice down here, it says hello world, right there. Which is exactly what we put right here. So, say we wanted to do something else other than just hello world. So yeah, now it says, hello people on YouTube watching these videos. See? And it's even like that. I don't know why the first run is like dark and the second run is like that. Now again, if you want to know where the dark theme is, it's the Chrome theme with modified stuff. Anyways. Now, this is kind of boring. I mean, it's just printing out a string. And now what a string is, well, have you ever had like alphabet soup and you see all these characters floating around the soup and you know, you just sometimes spell out words or you know, you just eat it like it's nothing. But what string is it's taking each of those characters and arranging them in a specific pattern. So, say if you will, you're taking a needle and threading it and then putting each one of those letters or characters onto the string of thread. Well, onto the thread. Okay? Then now you have like all these characters in a specific pattern. Well, that's what a string essentially is. And a lot of programmers say essentially, and I find it funny. Anyways, so you can print like two strings at once. So say hello, and then you can add a space, and then now what we're doing is we're adding a space and YouTube, so all of those characters, and then right after the hello characters. So if we run this, it has hello and then space YouTube. Okay, that's cool, but can we do other things other than just printing out strings with this? Can we say like print out a number? Well, the answer to that is yes. Now with numbers, you do not have to have anything special around them. You can just have it as, you know, the number. So now if I run this, it prints out 5. Now, they want me to do that. Okay, so cool. Now I can print out numbers and I can print out strings. But can you like put numbers right after strings or in front of? Well, here's the answer to that question. Now if I run this as hello, 5, goodbye. Okay, that's cool. So what can I just like, instead of just doing this, can I do like that except with a bunch of pluses? Well, if we think about it logically, 5 plus 5 plus 4 is 9, right? But would this end up printing out 54 or will it print out 9? Well, there's only one way to find out. And as you can see here, it prints out 9. So it does the math operation we tell it to, which is plus. We can also subtract from it, which gives us 1. We can multiply it, which is using the asterisk, whatever, or the star. Yeah. So now if we run this, it gives us 20. We can divide, and when we divide, it gives us 1. Now, you're probably wondering, why does it give me 1? Wouldn't it be 1.25 or 1 1/4? Well, actually, it is 1 1/4, but what it has to do before it prints it out is, well, this is an integer, and this is an integer. And, well, you can't divide an integer by an integer with keeping an integer value. You would have to round. So what it does is it automatically rounds the number and prints out the rounded value. So, which gives me to another thing. It's not so much printing out 5 divided by 4 as much as it's creating a variable. No. Sorry. Instead of printing out 5 divided by 4, we can create a variable that holds 5 divided by 4 and print that out. So, what's a variable? Well, a variable can be a string, it can be a character, it can be a byte, it could be a float, a double, which a float and a double are values with uh, decimal places. It can be a long, which is a very long integer. It can be an integer. It can be a short, which is like a shorter integer than integer. It what else? It can be a byte. And well, what a byte is well, if a bit is 2 nibbles. Wow. If a nibble is 2 bits and a byte is 2 nibbles, that means that 1 byte is equal to 4 bits. So like in binary, that would be anywhere between 0 and 2 plus 4, sorry, 1 plus 2 is 3 plus 4 is 7 plus 8 is 15. So anywhere between 0 and 15 is what 1 byte can hold. Now, but that's getting onto the computer side of things. So what we are going to be doing now is creating an integer value. And how you do that, well, it's not by typing integer. It's just by typing int, which is the first 3 letters of integer. Now, programmers don't actually really want to like write everything out all the time, because you know that could be really costly to have it do this, and then output, do that every time you want to do something. So we just like shorten things up, that way it's a little bit faster. So print line, we get rid of the I and the E, and out, well, it's really just an output stream. So what's a variable, you say? Well, if you remember in an algebra class, if you've taken one, you always have to solve for either x or y, or you know, j or p or something. So you'll have an equation that's like 5x equals 20, and you have to equals 20, and you have to figure out what x is. So then you'll divide 20 by 5, and x ends up being 4 in that case. Well, that's what an integer is. Well, not what a variable is. It's that variable that we're using. So in this case, just because I already used x, I'm going to have an int called x, and I'm going to equal that to 5. And then I'm going to put a colon at the end of that. And now, instead of printing out 5, I'm just going to print out x, which will in turn print out 5, because that's the variable it's given. So again, if we multiply it by 4, 20. If we divide by 2, 2, and so on. And so that's how you do a variable, as well as you can do a string variable, which is with a capital S and then string, and then you can also use x as well, and you can set that equal to hello, for instance. Also, if you notice what I've done, every time I get done typing out an entire line, I always add a semicolon. Well, what the semicolon is, okay, this is the end of this particular thing, so go on to the next. Okay, now actually, okay, so this makes it a little bit easier. So this, whenever it's compiling it, it'll keep reading and reading and reading, and then it says, oh well, that's all part of one thing. So now the next part be between here and here. So this is all one part, and this is another part. So that's really what this is for. It's a delimiter, so it's what tells it that this is the end of the line, or this is the end of the thought, if that helps. So it now prints out hello and not X. Also, Java is case sensitive, so printing out the variable X and the capital X, this just does not work. In fact, the IDE, which IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, is saying, oh, that variable isn't made. Well, that's because this is a lowercase x and this is a capital X, which makes it to where the variables are two completely different variables. They're just not the same variable. So that's why it has to be a lowercase x. Now, as I've said, something about a double. Now, if you've noticed, these words end up being like purple. Well, there are certain words which are called keywords that you cannot use for variable names. Like, well, unless of course if you change the capitalization. So if I void, that wouldn't work. However, if I change it to like capital V, that would work. But again, I'm going to keep it at x, and I'm going to make x equals 5.4. So now if we print this, it actually prints out 5.4. Now if we divide this by 2, we print it, it gives us 2.7, which is exactly half of 5.4. So instead of giving us an integer value, it gives us the actual value of it. Now, you can also use a float instead of a double. And then put f after 5.4, which makes it a float. And again, it's just the same thing. And well, that will wrap up this video. If it helped you at all, please give it a like. If it didn't, well, you know, there's always another button. Thank you and have a good day or night or, well, whenever it is. It just really depends on when you decided to watch this video. Well, have a nice day. Oh, and most importantly, have fun. Bye.